Bam! And just like that, Cheryl, Morrow, the Hair Oracle, and Ladosha Wright, aka Key Lolo, we pops up in you guys' chat, on you guys' screen, and on you guys' social media, wherever y'all at. We popped up just like that, and boy, are we excited for another lovely, lovely episode of the dumbest that people say about black hair. And we have a wonderful, wonderful podcast tonight. It's twofold. It's twofold. And so before we get into our topics, we have two topics. We see y'all in the chat. What's up, Luana? We're always excited to see you hopping in. We got Danny. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? So this is going to be a wonderful discussion. We're going to be talking about two things. So the first half, we're going to talk about how are we going to say this? Shea butter versus petroleum. So that's the first half. And then over the weekend, Cheryl has some alarming stuff come her way by way of this relaxer situation. And so we've been trying to lay low on this thing, trying to see what everybody else is going to do. But you know what? No one's saying anything. So Sandra, you know how it goes. Then Cheryl and I, we're going to be the two who's going to get this party started quickly. So let's play our intro music as we get ready to get into the topic, and we wait for some more people to come into the chat because we are excited about this wonderful episode of the dumbest who that people say about black hair when it comes to shea butter versus petroleum jelly. And then, of course, relaxers, formaldehyde, sodium hydroxide. What's the problem? What's going on? So let's start off with sister. Let Cheryl and I do your hair. Here we go. It's about to go down. It's spinning.
It's spinning.
Nice ponytail. What's up, good people? Dog, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Hey. And this is by Miss Rachel Evans. Sister, let me do your hair. And this is Rachel Evans. Sister, let me do your hair. It's available on Amazon Prime. So download your copy today. Good morning. Let us do your hair. We'll curl it. We'll relax it. We'll cut it. We'll do all types of cool stuff. We'll braid it. We'll give you a fade. We'll even give you a hat if you need one. Y'all gonna need your hair did for the holidays. Y'all better come on in the chat. If you would let me do your hair. I know I can't sing, but the Lord knows my heart. Let me do your hair. Whoa. Your hair. Whoa. Hey. We better hope Cheryl don't reveal too much of our conversation.
Yeah, I'll tell you right.
going down. This is the best part of the song, the wonderful jazz.
And you love saxophones, right?
Come on, y'all, sing it. Sing it. All right, guys. Y'all letting us do y'all hair for the night. And boy, oh boy, are we excited. We are so, so, so excited. So we are on our 79th episode. Next week is going to be 80. And so, again, this episode has a two-part. So the first part, we are going to be talking about shea butter versus petroleum. And then we're going to get real heavy on the second part. So stick around because this relaxer thing is getting just a little bit out of control. And so we need to kind of bring everybody into the folds and see exactly what can we or what can't we do about this situation here with the relaxer? Because I just don't know. But anywho, we got to start off with some current events, and boy, I got some serious current events that came through. You don't have to scour much. As soon as you hit the internet, and then you get all types of cool current events. It's just a matter of which ones that I want to pick. So I thought because Cheryl's in California and I'm always hating, this is shocking that I don't know if you guys are aware, but in LA, that Interstate 10, if you've ever been to LA and been on that freeway, gee, who Lord have that will run you out of LA. You know, when they say, how does it violate South Central? Don't get on I-10. How's that one? That's a serious freeway. So evidently, there was a massive blaze per this headlines, and then a portion of that freeway is closed down, and I'm sure it's backed all the way up to where Cheryl is.
We ain't got nothing to do with 10.
But that 10 is huge, man.
We do 5, 15, 805, and 94.
So she said 10 don't come that way. But if you are in LA, y'all know what, stay on off the freeway, because I did watch the interview and the mayor said this is not shut down for a couple of hours. This is going to be a situation. So lower your expectations and allow those people to do what they need to do to get that highway back together. So if you are in LA, just hold tight, sit still, and maybe catch an Uber or something. All right. So that's what's happening over. I don't know. Ubers are like, don't be calling us because we're kind of overwhelmed.
Right.
In LA. Next up, I thought this was interesting that in the UK, they're saying that Afro hair discrimination could cost jobs due to hierarchy of hairstyles, report warns. And so what they are saying is that women of color or women who have the Afro hair situation, they're like, you know what? We quit. They said, we don't even want to work these jobs. So for their hair, women are like, you know what? We're tired of being asked about our hair. So what are your thoughts about women saying, you know what? We don't even want to be in these high positions. And we're just kind of over this whole hair thing. Y'all leave us alone. Just what do you guys think in the chat? They going back to work. They going to have to work, man. I don't know. What do you think, Cheryl? Don't be all, come on, guys. What do you guys think? Should they go on back to work or take these jobs and shove it? I ain't working here no more.
I think that we as a industry need to start having training in HR.
I think that's a lovely idea. It's only Cheryl would come up with that. And so actually this says this happened in September. So it's a little old news, but it still popped up. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So we I think we do. I think it's time for us to have some conversations with the hiring folks. What would that conversation look like? Do you have an ideal? Like, what would you say to a company who says, "I don't care what you and the hell you and Kilolo is over there talking about. I don't want this hairstyle representing my company."
Well, then we would have to go into, the clinical, psychological, and social sciences of what the psyche of whiteness, what whiteness means, and go and attack that and attach it to the U.S. Constitution. Because, of course, blackness, black image, and black likeness has happened before. We've been here for 404 years. And
Okay.
so we understand what whiteness means. Whiteness means class. And so, therefore, you are not looking at qualifications. So you are out of the Constitution at that point. You are looking at what you want whiteness in corporate and things to look for that is discriminatory. And so, until we push the conversation beyond just the aesthetic and the style, it is not the aesthetic or the style because white people wear locks.
Right. Now, remember, we are having our 1 year anniversary watch party right here on the Afro Hair Science YouTube channel on Tuesday, December the 5th. And we do cover just a smidgen of that in our documentary because, as Cheryl pointed out, it's beyond the hairstyle. I question that a lot. When are we going to move past the hairstyle in the barber and beauty industry? And I think that article just captures the need for us to move that needle beyond and begin to have a higher elevated conversation about hairstyling. Last but not least on our current event, you're going to love this one if you are a Prince fan. Or if you guys are Prince fans, let's get that purple rain jumping. Y'all drop some purple. Let me drop my purple heart in the chat here. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get this. If you are a Prince fan, then go ahead on and just drop your purple heart in the chat because I'm almost for certain. I'm just 100% for sure you guys are going to love this. Here it is. Check it out. Bam! A collection of Prince's clothes, jewelry, and memorabilia will be up for auction by a private owner. And he says the auction starts at $100. I doubt, I highly doubt that it is going to end up there. But that shirt, I don't know who could fit the shirt. I don't know who might even want to wear the shirt, but I want the Purple Rain shirt. So I think I'm going to go into the auction and kind of start my bid at $100, and maybe it'll stay there and I can go live and hold it up and just go, "Ah!" So Prince has some wonderful. If you are a Prince fan, then you know he's got some wonderful digs. So I think if you got some money and you want to go for it, then hey, by all means, make sure you just be on the lookout for this auction that is going to have Prince's clothes, his jewelry. I don't think I know much about Prince's jewelry. I'll be honest.
Yeah, right. Me either.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not known Prince to wear a lot. Maybe earring or something. Maybe I don't know.
maybe.
Memorabilia. I'm sure there's enough of that to go around. But anywho, a private seller has a nice collection and decided, you know what, it's time for me to share. Now, how he came across this stuff or she probably was over Prince's house taking stuff. You know, you ever go over, you're like, hey. People be in your bathroom going through stuff. Yeah, they probably stole some of that stuff from Prince. But anywho, no, I'm just joking. It's not stolen. That's how it's going down. Yeah, Rashida says she doesn't think he wore jewelry. All right. Okay, well, that's my BFF coming through from the ATL. All right. By the way, why don't you guys drop what city you're representing in the chat? And let's go ahead on and hop into the topic of petroleum versus shea butter. So here's the thing. We know that people swear by shea butter, but I think a lot of people may not even be really aware of what shea butter is. So I took the liberty to find a clip that we can all read together. And we just want to first just kind of find out exactly what the ham sandwich is shea butter. So here we go. Let's read this all together, just a few seconds. So we're going to define what shea butter is, and then we're going to go into how it works on hair. Here we go. Right. So it pretty much comes from a tree in West Africa, and they cultivate it and they make this luscious stuff called shea butter. And allegedly, it is way better for your hair because last week we talked about all those combs and all that kind of stuff. And so shea butter is not, synthetic, it's all au natural. And so people are definitely of the mindset that that is way better for your hair than your petroleums. And so here is what another YouTuber had to say about how shea butter works on hair. So if you are a fan of shea butter and you like to use it on your skin as well as your hair, here is what she has to say are the benefits. Here we go.
Shea butter is an exceptional emollient, or better put, it works great at coating your hair. The composition of shea butter is closely related to our natural sebum, so when applied to your hair, it adds a lubricating layer to the surface, which helps decrease how fast water evaporates from your hair, while keeping it moisturized, flexible, and shiny for a longer period of time. It even provides your hair with some moderate UV protection. As with most emollients, shea butter does not fully absorb into your hair and must eventually be washed out.
All right. So Cheryl talks about that a lot, that our hair doesn't absorb anything. But she does say that shea butter, it mimics or is very close, rather. Let me not put words in her mouth, but that is very close to the oil that our scalp produces. So number one, is that true? Is the sebum oil, because y'all can see I'm a little greasy here. I just got off the road. So all the sebum oil that's on my face and your scalp produces, is that very close to shea butter?
No.
All right. It's about to get jiggy, y'all.
Well, let me ask you a question. So we can better ask. Let me answer it fully. Would you eat sebaceous oil or sebaceous wax? Because it's more of an ester. It's more of a wax. Sebum is not water soluble. Shea butter is.
What? Are you serious?
Right. You can solid. Since she said it was an emollient, shea butter is not an emollient. You can cosmetically and formulate. You can't do that with sebaceous gland. It's made to waterproof you. Sebaceous gland and oil is to make you waterproof, mildew proof, because you're 75 to 79% water. That's why you have oil, a sebaceous gland. It's to keep you from mildewing. You're a water electrical human being, but she that's a fantasy. She wants it to work like that. Shea butter actually is a food.
I'm with you, Sandra. Hey, guys. It's a food, but my boss is in the chat. Hey, boss, y'all know what we gotta do. That's right. When we see Lavina come through, we gotta drop those L's. So go up and go on ahead and drop those L's. But you know what? In addition to dropping L's, Cheryl, you're just always dropping so much knowledge. Now, is it because the way it feels like when you rub it. I should have brought some shea butter and some Vaseline, but we all know what the stuff looks like. Well, the bulk of us do. So when you rub it, it does get a little,
Grease.
it gets a little soft. And so maybe, I don't know, why do they say stuff like this?
Well, you have to understand that shea butter is you. I think you guys can check me. It is a West and East African version. I think the East African version is a little more softer, smells a little better than the
Yeah.
West African version, but it is a seed. It's a food.
Wow. So they eat.
It has more benefits to of it. It has more. It has more benefits when you ingest it than or or just about. I would say even.
Wow.
But you're
Well,
supposed to eat it, and then
I'm here to tell you. I'm
mm.
sorry for cutting you off. I've never heard of East African shea butter. I always hear about West African shea butter, but I did, as Chill would say, don't cook it up, look it up, and there you have it. There is a version of East African shea butter. So so it doesn't mimic our sebum oil. What
No.
about moisturizing the hair? So when you put the shea butter on the hair, does it moisturize? She didn't define what that means. So maybe you can kind of walk us through how maybe shea butter moisturizes hair.
Shea butter is not for hair; it's for skin, scalp. So
Did
we
you
are
guys hear that? Let me say it again. Hold on. Let me go ahead. Go ahead.
now, and because it is so nutritional, I think omega sixes.
You said it makes us who?
So omega sixes. It could be
Okay.
omega threes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think omega nines, but it's supposed to be eaten. However, you can put it on your skin, and I do believe that there is some research that shea butter is involved in wound healing, because if you think about it, shea butter is packed. It's got a linoleic, oleic, um, palm. I think steric. All of it's packed with a bunch of
Facts.
yeah, saturated fats.
Mm-hmm.
So and it just means that when it gets hot, it'll liquefy. It gets cold, it will solidify.
Yeah, kind of like coconut oil does that.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just say this, and if you guys heard me say this before, I'm not gonna apologize for sounding. I know Cheryl, I know Sandra, redundant, but and my boss is in the chat. And she was with me when I went over to the Gambia, and she was actually standing next to me. And when I asked, oh, I forgot his name. It just escaped me. It wasn't Ephraim. It was, oh, it begins with the I. It's going to come back to me. But I asked him, so tell us about shea butter. And he was like, well, what do you want to know? And I said, I was just wondering, I noticed that since we've been here that you guys don't use shea butter in the hair. And I will never forget his response. He was like, Ibrahim, that was it, Ibrahim. He said, oh, no, who would do such a thing? And I was like, well, wait a minute. Everybody in America is putting shea butter on locks. They're putting shea butter in hair. They're making products with shea butter. And he said the same thing, that shea butter should not be put on hair, especially that big chunky raw shea butter that people are using. So let's talk about a little bit, not because I know we got another part to go to, but let's talk about that chunky yellow raw shea butter that we go up on Harlem. You know, it's in every neighborhood. You can go anywhere and get that raw shea butter. So it can't be used on hair. So what's wrong with the raw shea butter?
Nothing. If it depends on how you refine it, and it's how you preserve it out of the seed. And it comes from the shell and the heart of the seed as well. But the yellow hard is spoilage. It's spoilage. So you have to remember it's a food. And by the time it spoils, it hardens, oxidizes. Now you want to use it for as a cosmetic.
Okay.
And shea butter is not really yellow. It's white. It's off white. And so I don't know. And let me just say this: shea butter is oils. Period. Is one of George Washington Carver's greatest skill set. He taught Dr. Austin Curtis. That's who he only had one protege. That's Dr. Austin Curtis, and you see him in some of the old pictures or videos. But very hard to cut the molecule, and you got to know what you're doing. And then Austin Curtis taught Mr. Morrow.
So heating. So when you say refined shea butter, are you talking about like putting it in a stove or a microwave, and is that refining?
How it is closest to how it comes out of the seed, and it stays, and you preserve it, and you don't keep it. You keep it away from the elements. It's supposed to be white and off
Oh,
white and really soft.
so
Yo,
that thick. We're kind of. I know everybody in the chat. We're just.
I'm having a moment. Let me tell you why I'm having a moment. Because I assumed that you guys, knew that.
I
So,
didn't.
so, so let me
I
just say,
love that. I buy all that yellow shape. I got so much of that stuff upstairs. It don't make no sense.
right, it's supposed to be very fluffy and soft and white.
So the stiffer the shea butter, the more it's more rancid.
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
So, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to
Because
say.
because it's a food. Remember, always remember, it's a food. You know what I mean? It's a food. It's not. It's supposed to be eaten. It's got the rich, very good cholesterol, good for heart disease. The pulp.
I've never heard that you can eat.
Yeah,
Anybody in the
let me
chat,
just
have you
say
guys
this.
ever heard of this? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it's very strong and rich in tocotrienols, not tocopherol, which is vitamin E. Not all vitamin E are equal, but tocotrienols. And all stroke victims or TIA people who have that in their family should always make sure that they ingest some shea butter on bread instead of olive. It's got very distinctive, sexy, very distinctive. Jay cooks with it,
I
and,
am just, I'm
and it
clutching
makes
my crystals,
fantastic
y'all.
desserts. It makes fantastic frosting desserts, like a little sour cream, little. It's delicious, and and I know you guys will probably say, "Yeah, that's new to you." What it says butter, y'all.
Well, we just think they mean like cosmetic butter. Am I the only
Oh, and no,
one?
no, not Butta. It says Butter. Shea butter. Meaning West Africans and East Africans, they do not eat animal fats. Not a lot of, they don't eat, you don't find a lot of dairy and a lot of other kinds of processed oils in shea butter. That's what it's called, shea butter. And when you melt it down in just a little heat, little heat, It melts on down. You put a little salt and pepper in there. You put your bread in there. Oh my goodness.
I just, I don't know, guys. I need therapy again.
Yeah, and wait a minute. And once you put shea butter and you put the nutritional list, it's going to give you all of the omega sixes. So y'all just thought it was a cosmetic.
I'm
Lord,
gonna, if anybody,
it's only a cosmetic because they can't. It's only a cosmetic because they of a market. If the United States didn't have a market for shea butter, they would be over there eating it and doing other things with it. I'm just letting you know that the shea butter that I consume and that I use and that I buy, and we are coming out with a line of the most expensive shea butters in the world. It is the most fabulous, creamiest, sexiest, sexual butter in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Great,
well,
great for
okay.
wound healing. It triggers cytokines in your immune system. Cytokines are little your immune system triggers wound healing.
So this stuff that she's saying about it moisturizing hair, it's being close to your sebum. All of this is stuff that's made up.
Now,
Wow.
we'll put it this way. Somebody put in sebum. What is sebum made of? In the
Okay.
chat. Somebody put it in there.
Here I go. I want to Google. You said what is sebum oil made of? What
Yeah,
is sebum
made of.
oil? Oh, there it is. What is sebum oil made of? Human sebum oil consists of squalene esters. Do you want me to show this a little bit?
You can.
Okay, here we go, guys. Let me just show you. Share the screen. Here we go. There it is. And share. All right, so there you have it. It says it's a yeah. So it
Glycerol.
consists of. Go ahead.
Right. Okay.
So
Right.
it's esters of glycerol, wax, and cholesterol, and all this cool stuff.
Okay. And squalene is used as a cosmetic, and it's wax, which means it is just not water soluble. It's to keep you from being mildew, from your sweat, water pouring out. Is to even the balance of the water and oil balance.
And so, are you saying that that shea butter is heavier than
No,
sebum?
what I'm saying that there is no nutritional value of sebum. They're not the same thing. Shea butter is a food. So now when you put in shea butter, right? Put in shea
Right.
butter. Put in shea butter.
All right. So here we go. Let me go put in shea butter. Hold on, guys.
Right. The nutrition. Right. Shea butter is made of what? Shea butter is,
Uh,
yeah, just put in shea butter is made of
okay. Hold on. All right. Shea butter is made of. You want me to say? You said just type shea butter.
shea butter is made of, so it can give you the, you know what I mean,
Oh,
the nutritional value or whatever it's consists of. Shea butter.
that comes from tree. Yeah. Okay. So let me show this. Right. Because let me just show you guys what it's saying about shea butter. All right. So here we
Yeah,
go.
you want the right.
All right. So shea butter is a seed fat that comes from the shea tree. It's found in east, there it is, and west, and it's from two oily kernels. Okay.
No, but what I was basically saying, it's got a lot of what is it? Main ingredient in shea butter. What does that say? What is shea
It
butter?
says
What is
palmitic.
yeah? What is shea butter made of? I think that's
It
what.
is made of palmitic, stearic, oleic, linoleic, the same thing you said, and architic acids. It is edible. It is used in food preparation. Hot damn. I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse me.
Okay.
Wow, 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 wow. It's right. It's just amazing how.
Okay.
So
And
how
it's
is
and it's dyed yellow.
it's what? Girl, you know what? I ain't got time for you today. Wow. Okay.
Okay. So my point
Okay.
is, shea butter is nutritional. You're not going to get all of your mono, poly, and saturated fats and all your nutrition and your omega 3s, 6s, and your tocotrinos from sebum. Sebum is coming out of your body. It's not nutritional. You don't want to ingest it back and get any nutritional. They're not even in the same
Well,
class.
well, wow. All I can say is wow. I think I think Sandra said wow. I think Judy said wow. I know before I even went to Africa, I just felt that the way shea butter is set on the hair, I just couldn't see why you would put that in your hair. Though I did not know. Even if I don't know if you recall when Fatu was here and we were braiding hair, and she kept asking. Remember, she kept asking, "Why are we putting stuff on hair to braid it?" And remember, you were like, "Are you guys listening?" Remember, you kept asking her,
Yes.
like, and Fatu cannot understand why we put so much stuff. It was almost difficult for her to even braid the hair because it had all this stuff.
Right.
I,
We are trying to make everything lay down. We so busy trying to make everything be smooth. We're so busy with the cosmetic and the aesthetic of it. We're not down with the cultural aspect of it. We're not trying to do things healthy. We are. That's why the new wax, the braiding wax. We're so busy trying to make it look like we got good hair. We so
yeah,
busy to make it look different. But
listen.
wait. All in, these are all this is all coming out of the natural hair world. They want to be so natural, but they want it to look
Shellacked. I know. I braid the guy's hair, and they were coming in like, do you braid hair? Yes. And then they would say, well, do you blow it dry and put the wax? I said, listen, I'm from the hood, and when we grew up, first of all, we couldn't afford a blow dryer. Number one, that's number one. Number two, we braided that hair wet. We didn't even use and the hair dried. So I know all Black people don't have the same cultural practice, but I'm with Fatu. My mother maybe used just a little grease so it wouldn't rough her fingers,
right.
so that as she braided the hair, it wouldn't scar her fingers. But other than that, we didn't use all this stuff. So the guys whose hair that I braid that stuff up wet. I'm not buying that little thing. I'm not using all of that. But I understand what Cheryl is saying, that is the new phenomenon in braiding, is that you want to wax this stuff up, and they want to make it look neat. And that's like the antithesis of braided.
But it's all coming out of it not being acceptable.
Oh,
And see, it cannot be acceptable to other people until it can be acceptable to us. We
okay.
have to stop pulling every strand. We're trying to make texture look different. That's where all this is coming from.
Okay. Well, now we got the skinny on shea butter. And please, if you are watching this
So
post
if you
live,
want and we're and Jay's coming out with a shea butter cookbook, and so
oh,
if you guys want some shea butter recipes, just hit me up. Um,
I want to try to eat it. Judy, would you eat some shea butter with me? I'm gonna do a live and I'm gonna eat some. I gotta learn how to do it, guys. And then I'm gonna eat some shea butter live. I know that this will be a game changer. So let's move right on over because we gotta get to the other half. And let's talk a little bit about this petroleum jelly that everybody hates. So here we go. Here's petroleum jelly.
Petroleum jelly is a topical ointment used to treat everything from dry skin to nosebleeds to chest colds. Originally packaged and sold as a cure-all, scientific studies on petroleum jelly have revealed that it really doesn't measure up to the hype. Number 1. It's derived from fossil fuels. The crude version of petroleum was first discovered in 1859 on an oil rig. Though still a byproduct of oil, the petroleum jelly of today is distilled and rendered into a colorless, odorless gel. Use of petroleum jelly not only means you're slathering a petroleum byproduct on your skin, it also inadvertently supports the ecological and environmental devastation caused by oil drilling and the burning of fossil fuels. Number 2. Petroleum jelly may be carcinogenic. The makers of petroleum jelly claim that their product is refined, purified, and free of cancer-causing compounds. While the EU requires a full history of the refining process of petroleum jelly, along with proof the product is not a carcinogen, the US has no such regulatory requirement.
Okay.
Is
So
that
you
like,
have
like that language, man? Oh, he just poured it
he
on
killed it. He
and
said it's a byproduct.
turned it around, made it dangerous. And you got to be careful how that language is because, of course, petroleum jelly has been on babies' bottoms for 200 years and has not one baby, that is just the sickest marketing I have ever seen. What does Vaseline got to do with oil drilling?
Well, he said it's a byproduct. It's not eco-friendly and it's a carcinogenic. I mean,
No,
Cheryl,
that's not what he said. He said at the beginning, he said, because it is a byproduct. But the problem is that petroleum jelly is not a byproduct as if it's not natural. Why don't you just say, but you don't dare say that about Exxon. You don't dare say that about Shell. You don't dare say that about gasoline. You don't dare say that about other things that you want, but little old Vaseline, petroleum jelly. Come on, guys. I
well,
mean,
hold on now. He did say it was a byproduct.
it's
He,
not a byproduct. That doesn't make it synthetic.
what? Come on now, man.
No, petroleum, it has different phases. I just told you. You just have different phases. It's not, but they use the word byproduct to get you to think they're selling you on something. When you say byproduct, that means that, what is your kids a byproduct? Like they not human or something? While they have other uses for the petrol, for the crude oil that has decomposed. They have other uses for it. Don't say a byproduct because what you're doing to do is that you're getting ready to mind screw me. That's what you're
I'm
doing.
screwed. I ain't gonna tell no lie.
Then they say it may be a carcinogen. Then he goes on and say that it's up to petroleum people to prove it's not a carcinogen. You see, he switched it. And that is the problem with cosmetics because they don't have people to stop them from doing that. And that is the essential oil. That is the other oil companies that want to say mineral oil and petroleum and petroleum jelly. That is those lobby groups that don't want you using what? Because, of course, they want to sell you now. Prior to Veda started out as an aromatherapy company. They did not start out skincare and hair care. They started as a aromatherapy. Okay? And then all of a sudden, you saw this whole wave of essential oils. Essential oil is another phase of crude oil. Crude, plant, and then it's a one phase, and then it goes higher all the way until the essential, or what they call effervescent or spirit. Okay, and then that is when you get the essential. But don't just because you got mineral oil here and you got petroleum here, they're just saying that they are molecular bigger than essential oil or shea butter or corn
So,
oil.
let me just get this right, okay? So let's say this is a rock, right?
Okay.
A mineral.
Okay.
And so this
Like we
mineral,
said, like quartz. Remember
right?
silica.
Here it is.
Right.
I have a mineral. Here we go.
There
So
you go.
hold on, y'all. We're gonna get this. Wait a minute now. I'm gonna mess
Okay.
up my hair.
All right. Okay.
So here's a mineral.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And so this mineral, when you go to
Right. When it starts to decompose, it starts to liquefy, it turns into crude oil. Then you pull that up and then you make other things from it, which is petroleum jelly. And then it goes to, and then you have a virgin. You don't cook with crude oil because it's too big in the natural form. So you start making mineral oil. You use mineral oil for enemas. You take it for wound healing and all other things. But then you have your food and your tree and your nut oils. Oil, and then oil from the ground, oil from the trees, oil from root, oil from coconuts, oil from fruit. Okay, oil from botanicals such as flowers.
wow.
Right? Then you have teas, which are from the leaves and the bark. Not flowers, unless you have chamomile. That's a whole other story. But you get the point.
Right.
All of the plant and rock is giving you all of its resources to make foods and teas and drinks and cosmetics. But you can't don't sell me one to say one is better than the other, because when you listen to his sales pitch all over again, now that I have trained your ears, he will double talk because he's trying to do something to your mind. Listen to it over again. He'll
All
say,
right, here we go. Let's hear it. Let's hear it one more again. Here we go. Here we go.
Petroleum jelly is a topical ointment used to treat everything from dry skin to nosebleeds to chest colds. Originally packaged and sold as a cure-all, scientific studies on petroleum jelly have revealed that it really doesn't measure up to the hype. Number 1. It's derived from fossil fuels. The crude version of petroleum was first discovered in 1859 on an oil rig. Though still a byproduct of oil, the petroleum jelly of today is distilled and rendered into a colorless, odorless gel. Use of petroleum jelly not only means you're slathering a petroleum byproduct on your skin, it also inadvertently supports the ecological and environmental devastation caused by oil drilling and the burning of fossil fuels. Number 2. Petroleum jelly may be carcinogenic. The makers of petroleum jelly claim that their product is refined, purified, and free of cancer-causing compounds. While the EU requires a full history of the refining process of petroleum jelly, along with proof the product is not a carcinogen, the US has no such regulatory requirement.
That make the US like some skanks because the EU is better than us.
no. But see, what the point is, he said it may. No proof that it does.
But the EU says you got to show us that it doesn't.
No, they say they claim. So they have given them proof. But because their claim, he can say, well, yeah, you can claim it, that it has been refined and it has been cleaned and blah, 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 blah. The UE requires proof. How the hell do you know that they don't have proof? They just told you that they have a claim that it does, and the FDA regulates claims. But he's putting it in your mind that they have not. But it's not true, because you can't be FDA approved when that. And that what the hell we fighting about now?
Do tell.
You know what I'm saying? And I do get you, brother Harris Savant. Yeah, You dig the rock. The oil comes from rock.
Wow. I'm shook. I'm shook. I'm so shook.
So
I
we
thought
talked
that
about that
every
last Thursday. Silica is a rock, and when it's crushed, salt starts as what? Come on now, a mineral. Fuck. I mean, come on, Africans.
you make it seem so simple.
All Africans, God gave you a brain. Come on, natural people. Come on, stop being dumb. You already know, you saw that. You go to Africa, I went to Senegal, went to the Pink Lake. That rock, that shit is hard. It's a
Wow.
mineral.
It is. It's a mineral.
What did they, in these particular rocks, rock salt. Rock salt comes in grains, and then silica, salt and silica, basically they sisters. But silica looks like what? Comes from sand.
Sand. Well, I remember that one.
Okay.
Oof.
But oil sands and all of that stuff is ground and related. They're all minerals. So you'll have that's why you have a pink salt rock, and it'll look like a quartz. It'll look like a rose quartz.
So rose quartz is pink salt?
No, rose quartz is a rock, but it's aqueous. You can put it in refine it, and it'll be silica, which they make silicone and silicon.
And this is true because, shameless plug, in my hair care products, that they are using biomineral technology, if you will. They're the same thing that Cheryl is saying. So I'm telling you, I thought petroleum jelly was over in its own toxic world, because I ain't gonna lie, I threw out all my petroleum jelly, but I'm going back to buy that big jar of petroleum jelly, because they got us all kind of messed up here. So before we switch over into our next topic, which is all about the relaxers and the keratin treatment, we do have a small request in the chat, and it is coming from where is it at? It's coming from Lawana. No. I take that back. It's coming from Sandra. And Sandra asked if everyone in the chat, everybody that's watching right now, we know there are at least 50 people watching, but right now she asked if everybody could be so kind to do this. Pump me on, pump me on. So the chat is pretty full. That means things are about to get heated, and you guys can really help move the needle and helping to change the narrative about hair in general. If you go ahead on right now and hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to share the content, because there are a lot of people out here who, like myself, maybe they threw out all of their petroleum. Like, I have no Vaseline in my house. We grew up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You grew up.
I did. I haven't bought Vaseline since the Shea Butter craze started.
And I want to make sure that we understand something. Fossil fuel, the creator is cosmic, it's earth. And it's only when we start screwing with it and burn it is when you get the carbon dioxide. Mm-hmm. It's only when we start making it bad. But you see that his pictures had the fire and the earth and the power,
brimstone,
with the smoke
going to hell.
It's really important that we learn how to hear propaganda when we hear it, because propaganda is how we lose things. Propaganda is how we confuse things. Propaganda is how we start fighting against each other. Propaganda is how we lose our lunch and our money and our cultural assets. That's how it starts.
All right. Well, we got one question before we switch topics. And so, Lawana, which who we love so much, thank you so. And if you have questions, by all means, please drop them in the chat. If you are watching this post live, we will respond to your questions. Also, if there's something that you want us to cover, we will do that as well. But she does ask. So, are products containing shea butter bad for the hair? I'm just going to say, sure, you can clear it up, but we're not saying it's bad for the hair. What we're saying is the claims that they are making about shea butter, we just have to be honest to say they're all false.
Well, there's not enough shea butter in it to even make any reputation. They just putting it in there because y'all like to see it. And a formulator myself, and my whole thing is that if we're gonna formulate and to the point where, and let me just say this, and y'all know I was gonna go. Shea butter is the number one cosmetic in the world. Shea butter is the number one loved, coveted cosmetic ingredient in the world. And unfortunately, my goal is to make shea butter multi-millionaires. Because if it's, how can that be when there ain't no rich shea butter farmers? Why is that? That means either black folks ain't taking care of business, importing it and doing it right and making it sexy to the point where we can compete with Estee Lauder and El Lactane and all these other brands, and we need to be about making superior. So I am going to challenge every historical black college, and if I can get to everyone, they need to be having, every historical black college needs to have a shea butter cosmetic manufacturing plant so it can fuel its funds for all whatever we need, and we can learn how to make high-end. Beauty is all we have. It is the last of the Mohicans. It is the last stop before we get on back on them wage plantations and them no wage plantations. If y'all understand what I'm saying, because at the end of the day, I keep telling you, the Western world does not have a plan B. You have been plan A all along. It will always will be.
Oh, all right. Now we're getting a little rogue here. Did you hear what she just said? There is no plan B. HBCUs, everybody always, I'm HBCU, I'm the Divine Nine and all this. I'm in the marching band and all this stuff. Come on, y'all. We can do more than buy real estate. We can do more than be in the Silicon Valley. We can do more than fight laws. We can also do something with hair. And I will admit, I've heard you say before about there are no billionaires in Africa off of those shea butter farms, like we have with L'Oreal and Estee Lauder and all them people. You know how they do it. So
And
that is
they're not even really formulating shea butter because they don't know how.
wow.
It's very
Wow.
hard to, and y'all so busy being at the damn farmers market with that bullshit. You know
We
what I
want
mean?
to keep it in the jar. I want a jar of shea butter. I got several jars of shea butter. And so
Shea
Cheryl is
butter is supposed to be a cosmetic. It's supposed to be sensual and lovely and smell fabulous. It is supposed to compete and kick ass and send everyone home broke. But for some reason, we just keep slapping that shit in a damn Tupperware and slapping a label on it, and it's all yellow and rancid,
oh,
and it
Oh,
doesn't
let
go.
me just say this. I'm sorry, but I was in Baltimore this weekend and I was at this event and there was a person there and they were selling like hair stuff. And let me tell my brother was there and let me tell you what happened. People were refusing to buy it.
It's
It's
coming.
about to be a shift. They said, we're not buying that stuff. And I said, me and Shan looked and I said, they ain't buying no. And so the lady who was with us, she's from Baltimore. And I said, yo, like, why y'all not buying no natural like shea butter and stuff for hair? And she said, we don't know what's in that shit. We've been buying them products all this. I done had to cut my hair off. I give up. I don't like none of it. I'm not buying it. And so they were the first to leave. no one was buying their product. So something is happening. Something is happening.
Yeah, and it needs to.
So
And
something is
all the
happening.
cosmetologists on this channel,
All right. So I'm
we
not going.
said
Yeah.
that
So
we were going to try
um,
to get some training because you guys need to be the next superstars. That is important. You have the training, you have the experience, and you got to just take it from these kids because it's awful.
all right. So let's move over to relaxers. We're just gonna just go ham and just go ahead on and go right into this whole situation with the relaxers, starting with this. Here we go.
I was wondering why my hair was thinning. I was wondering why, and some young ladies may be dealing with the same thing. Wonder why you get that little burning right in the top, soreness, sore spots, and it was from the relaxers.
Relaxers are a staple in the Black household because the chemicals that are applied on the hair shaft loosen the curl pattern, making it easier to manage and style. But after decades of medical research and many women suffering the consequences of using the products, the FDA has moved to ban chemical straightening creams that contain formaldehyde, the odorless, colorless gas that is found in fertilizers, disinfectants, and many more.
Now,
Get ready, y'all.
so I don't know if y'all saw that I had an experience. Now, I am an Aquarian to my heart, so I follow some prompts. Sometimes I get prompts, and I just follow them, right? So I go into the store for something else, and something told me to go over there and buy a relaxer, right? So I go over there, and I find only one brand. All of them are gone. Every one of them. So I go in and I pick it up, right? And so, as you guys know, it went beep. And okay, I thought something was wrong. I couldn't, swipe it. Anyway, so black woman said, "Hey, you better, look out for that stuff. You know that stuff is dangerous." And so I'm like, and I looked at her and I says, "Well, ma'am, how do you know it's dangerous?" Because they said. And I says, "Ma'am, okay." And so I just didn't want to have that conversation. And then I ended up having to call her over because it would not check out. And so she came over there to manually do it, went over there and got some, as you guys can go on my Facebook page, and you can watch the video. Then she manually put in the SKU. They had totally erased the SKU. And I said, "Why would you guys erase the SKU?" "Well, we just can't sell it. You can't buy this no more." Okay, I'm just sending you what that happened. Now, of course, 3, 4, 5 days ago, Benjamin Crump and his cronies announced a national class action suit against L'Oreal. L'Oreal has never made relaxer. It has acquired black hair care companies who have made relaxer. But I want you guys to understand something. I don't know how old you guys are and how long you guys have been doing hair, but we do remember thermal reconditioning, and we do remember Rio, Copa, and Brazilian keratin. Okay. And we do understand that there have been a lot of European companies that have put formaldehyde in their particular hair straightening. And all European people think that you can straighten hair with formaldehyde. They put it in their hair color, and they also have put it in their thiol products. Black people, listen, black people are not formaldehyde formulators. Not one manufacturer has ever put formaldehyde in our box relaxers, professional relaxers, or any straightening product. Garrett Morgan didn't do it. We didn't do it on the plantation. We are hydroxide people, not formaldehyde people. When you pick up now, let me just say this, because I'm going to have you guys look it up. There is no EPA or OSHA or FDA warning against hydroxide. It is corrosive. And I think a couple of podcasts back, we talked about the difference between corrosive, caustic, poisonous, and hazardous. There is a difference. Okay. So with that being said, but there has not been any studies done on hydroxide in terms of cancer causing.
Well, I think what
Why?
we have here now is the trick of the words. Because if you saw, I don't even know how, as a journalist, like journalists today, I just want to say some foul crap about journalists today. But some of my best friends are journalists, no pun intended. So I don't want to be on the outs with my peoples. But this journalism today is just very, very lazy. The way she switched that up from relaxers and then she moved over to formaldehyde. So here's another snippet of a woman talking about the trick of the relaxers and the formaldehyde. So here we go. Let's check this one out.
It's trickery because it's really telling you the whole truth about the product. Nothing straightens quite like a relaxer. We do have things as far as keratin treatments, Brazilian blowouts. People want a relaxer, they want a relaxer. It's definitely going to change the hair game. It's really smart chemists and manufacturers out there. I'm sure we're going to find something else that could replace a relaxer, or, some kind of way we can take that chemical out.
So
So at the end of that, she says, take that chemical out. Black people, you are about to be erased. You are about to get witness in your lifetime. I want you to listen to me. The greatest transfer of cultural wealth in the history of mankind, if you let them get away with this lie. No pun intended. This is not the truth. We have never, and let me just say this. Black hair care actually put Brazilian companies, Japanese companies out of black hair care. Did not let them in the Bronner Brother. We did not endorse Copa. We did not endorse Rio. None of that shit has nothing to do with black people, black manufacturers, black. And let me just say this, once I even get off this call, I am going to make sure that we get in contact with Africa's Best or whatever the case may be. Because if you do it to one brand, I don't give a shit what you feel about them. If you do it with one brand, you're going to do it with another.
Now, go ahead. Now, I was Hair Savant. When we talked about this, I said to Cheryl, I said, I believe the average person knows that the relaxers never have formaldehyde in it. But to Hair Savant's point, that people are not paying attention. So what's the backlash of saying, right, that hair straighteners with formaldehyde, but you're showing a picture of
black
olive
people,
oil relaxer, African Pride, Affirm, Optimum. Why don't they call out keratin and all those companies, the Japanese straightening systems who have it? What is that all about?
What one is three-pronged. One is state board. Two is Milady. Three, it is the federal. It's not FDA because it's there, because y'all can go on the FDA and you can see the warning, and it says all Brazil. They come from Brazil. They come from Japan. Japan stopped thermal reconditioning, I would say, about 20 years ago, in their defense. Okay, now. But the Brazilians have tried so many times to enter into the keratin straightening, the keratin blowout, the Copa, and the Rio. They have tried 4 times in 4 different decades to try to get that kind of straightening system, but it has nothing to do with black people. But one thing is clear, though, is that if consumers are not paying attention to the ingredients, why aren't they? They're the one making the claim. Somebody's paying attention to it. Somebody knows it's not
Well,
there.
you have people that keep saying because the relaxer burned my hair, because the relaxer made my hair brittle. People swear up and down
But,
that
but, but they've never used formaldehyde in terms of black hair care. So to attach that symptom,
I'm with Hair Savant. I believe they think that that was the missing, or somehow that formaldehyde played a role into the
people
hair.
don't know what a formaldehyde feels like.
They don't, but they feel like this expose rhetoric is revealing something new to them. Is anybody following me?
And because you can't attach a feeling. Now, if you want to say the sensation maybe warns you, but at the end of the day, all barbers, you guys don't put on aftershave or astringent. You guys like the burn. You guys like the burn. The shit ain't working unless a cleanser or an astringent burns. So to say that a sensation is the single most, the epitome of, oh my God, it must be formaldehyde. You don't know what formaldehyde feels like. And at the end of the day, how many times do men shave? There's been carcinogenic studies done on aftershave, magic shave. And you go around with black men looking all dark and dark under here, but they don't do that. They don't spook men. They don't spook white women. They're spooking black women. They're spooking black women. And because we will not stop them and say, draw the line, yeah, you better throw out and make a thin line against, and Brazilian hair, and the other culprit and red flag for me is that Brazilian hair straighteners, they're not even vogue anymore. They're not even that popular anymore. So why all of a sudden an ingredient that's only in those products are no longer in vogue? Why are you bringing it up now?
Right. Well, I'll tell you why. Because you hear stuff like this. Here we go. Here's what we hear.
We can permanently alter the bond by manipulating the sulfur or disulfide bonds. That's the bond we're manipulating when we're doing perms and relaxers. Each of those works slightly uniquely different, but what is happening is we're manipulating that sulfur bond. We are softening it, and in some cases breaking it, and then reforming it to a certain degree in a new shape. With perms, we're taking hair that's one texture, and we're going to apply a chemical in order to make that hair more curly than what we have. With relaxers, it's the opposite. We're going to apply our chemicals and reduce the curl. Reduce it, remove it. These are permanent processes because they involve that sulfur bond. Each of these was invented a little more than 100 years ago. We know a lot about perms and relaxers because we've been studying them for a long time.
And that is why you have this distorted. They can't get on the same page because they still believe something that has a caustic nature, which means that it's working on the outside and then works itself in because it's a what? Burn, right? So it mechanically and naturally, it cannot be going in there and rearranging something and then jumping back out because you have a burn. Means that it's just working on the top surface, top dead cells, lower dead cells, and then you get a sensation. Then you rinse it off and then it stops. It can't be going in doing something and then you rinse it off, and it's not even logical. And these are educated scientists. These are educated people. It just blows my mind.
Well, here's Hair Savant, and I'm with you. Isn't that where the brands need to step up and speak up publicly? We can't do it, but we, the cosmetologists, aren't making it. And that's the conversation I had with Cheryl before the live. I asked that very same question because.
Well, let me say, I would agree, and I think it does need to happen. The problem is, whose livelihood is it a conduit through? So it behooves us to be able, because we are the one who are making a living off of it. And they are too. And I think it's a dual effort. I completely agree. And I'm not disagreeing.
Right, right. But I think any cosmetologists and barbers in the chat, please drop a B or a C in the chat. The next question that comes up is Sandra says, where in the hell did this whole formaldehyde come from? Oh, you said where did he come from? He is what he has a YouTube channel, and he's the cosmetology dad. And this is what they are teaching. They are trying to show that the sodium hydroxide and the formaldehyde works identical on the hair, that they are both rearranging these disulfide bonds. And Cheryl, you say?
I am saying that as a Black woman in beauty for all my whole life, I'm not interested in how formaldehyde works. I've never ran into it. I don't know how the shit works. Brazilian brands and European brands and Japanese brands have to tell us how the shit works, why they put it in their shit. Black folks don't know and don't understand. We are not formaldehyde people. I don't know why they put it in there. I don't know what it does. I don't have any idea. And see, I don't even want to even know how the shit works because it doesn't include Black people. It doesn't include us. We are calcium and sodium hydroxide people.
But a lot of Black women, I'm sorry for cutting you off, a lot of Black women were getting those keratin treatments. I used to have a customer who was getting the keratin treatment. And I said, you need to stop using it. And her stylist, who was African-American, called me up and said, you need to tell her that she needs to get her treatment. And, it was just a ball of confusion. And even though I didn't say it the way that you said it, I said, I can't vouch for this keratin stuff. It's bad. Everybody I know who used it, all of them cut their hair off. Every single last one of them. And I know they probably won't mind me telling you who they are, but I won't because I don't have their permission. But they did cut their hair off because it was just not a good thing. So let me show you 2 videos where they explain to you exactly what this stuff is. So here's the first one.
But as a precaution against potential formaldehyde fumes, he applies straightening and taming systems in this special, highly ventilated room. Ivy Lipkin has been coming to this salon for years, having Bobby take her curly, coarse hair.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
And turn it into this.
Oh my God, it's like maintenance-free hair. I love it.
She uses a Japanese straightening system, which is permanent and lasts about a year, while keratin, which she tried several years ago, lasts only 3 to 6 months.
I just didn't like it.
Keratin treatment can cost anywhere from $200 to $350, while Japanese can cost $700 and up. For cost-conscious clients, Bobby warns against the temptation of using over-the-counter keratins and those sold on the internet.
What you don't know is how toxic.
And my whole thing is that if most of the customers, I would say 60% of them were biracial and European women, Latino women, Brazilian women, and it was a product out of Brazil, and it was a product out of Japan, I don't understand, what does that have to do with Black women in America? What does that have to do with us? You know what it has to do with it? It knows at the end of the day, Y2K Naturals, hear me. You gave them the retail market and the retail sector of Black hair care. White folks have never had that. When you hand it over to them, it's almost like they are junkie now. And after that, they are now coming to for your professional grade and level. You are about to be erased. Madam Malone, Anthony Overton, Gord Mack, you are about to be erased. And they're going to do it in the auspices of a study that is not proven, has nothing to do with you, studying of an ingredient that ain't got shit to do with you, and they're going to put that black face, and they're going to let some dumb Negro like Benjamin Crump with his croonies, and then they're going to get some lawsuit, sue L'Oreal, which L'Oreal ain't never made the shit. They just bought companies that manufactured it. What the hell do they got? Because they're going for deep pockets, and at the end of the day, they're going to open up the floodgates, and your living, they're going to gut black hair care. And let me just say this. And the second point, thank God that Mr. Morrow at least had, and you guys can go to YouTube and put in California Green Willie Morrow. Thank God we had the answer and the technology to improve. We have the right to improve, like the fossil fuel and the transportation and science and pharmacology. Why does every other industry have the chance and opportunity to improve, but we don't? But thank God we have the answer. And let me just say this. And if we have to be able to make adjustments and changes and do some other things, we're ready, prepared to do that. But to vilify and criminalize black hair care, when black hair care never endorsed any thermal reconditioning, Brazilian blowout, or Brazilian keratin. Never.
Well, I think that Sister Naya Colby has a very good point. She says they're attaching formaldehyde to the conversation because the relaxer attack by itself is falling apart. We got Abjuware, Brother Unk is in the house. He's saying that science will answer our questions. We know that, Unk. However, the news is not respecting the science. The news is promoting this. And let me just show this to you. Let me pull it up right quick. Here is a study. Cheryl and I, we deliberately followed this young lady. She's a researcher named Lisa Wise. And her science is not necessarily, it's not necessarily adding up. So let me just show you to his point about the science. So here we go. Right here. So here is the research coming out of the American Journal of Epidemiology. And it says hair relaxer, right? Use and risk of leiomyomata in African American women. So this was their research. Now, I'm not going to take you guys all the way through the research, but what we could not figure out, number one, is how they ended up coming up with the relaxer. Like, we still don't know what made them. When you read this research, it is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
It is misleading, and I'm not going to let you go forward with the misleading language. It is not. They did that right. They studied formaldehyde, not relaxers. That was what they're looking for. This court, and also make sure that you guys understand correlation or correlative studies are not based in fact. They are not research studies, they're correlation studies. They're putting a group of people, not the women who did not get uterine cancer, not the ones who didn't get, whatever the case may be. It's a correlation. And let me just correct everyone who understands, who says science. Science is not science. No, science is not equitable and equal. Science is your science, my science, people's science, and black folks' science, and white folks' science, and all the end of the day, what does it take to do research? Money. And whoever got that grant to study hair straightening, the word then morphs into relaxer. But the culprit was an ingredient that they were after. Relaxers don't have that. So that's the word usage in the study that says hair relaxers. They didn't do hair depilatories, hair removers, hair melt, deep, nair, and all the other subsequent cancer-causing cosmetics like what white women use: Brazilian blowout, Brazilian keratin, copa, and real. Why didn't they name them? And
Right, and that's what I was gonna show that, but you said you didn't want to be bothered, and Brother Unk is saying now he wants to read the research.
go
I'm
ahead, you
telling
can
you,
read
yeah,
it.
yeah, the
Fine with
research
me, but it's
because
correlative. It's a correlation study of gathering of women, not the fact that they did a study actually on the chemical that they are looking to ban.
yeah, right, because at the end of the day, here is what it does say, Cheryl. At the end of the day, the study had no information on what Cheryl just said, which is what the individual brands of chemical relaxers used on the constituents that might be considered estrogen disruptors. Thus, we are unable to provide insight as to the specific mechanisms which hair relaxers could have influenced risk. I'm telling you guys,
And what
what
else
Cheryl,
pissed me off is that when Black women want to get the opportunity to do real research studies, okay, on actual biopsies and going in and actually doing research, not correlation, just gathering up a bunch of people and then, okay, put this one in this group. Did you have one last week? Okay, did you have one this week? And then coming up with a bunch of numbers. But Black women that I know personally cannot get $500,000 to $230,000 to do this goddamn study. But a white girl gets it.
right? BS. Straight up BS. She says, therefore, our studies raises the hypothesis that hair relaxer use is associated with the increased risk, which they cannot rule out. There's so many other contributing factors that research does not include, because to Cheryl's point, it is merely a questionnaire. So I'm gonna say this.
With y'all
Please
ass. You gotta
stop.
get white folks just scare your ass, and shit just pisses me off. They can just say anything. White folks ain't never worried about your damn testes or uterus. Never have they ever been, only to shut it down and not make it work, but they ain't never wanted you to be in better health. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sis.
No. I mean, I'm just saying that when it comes to that science, guys, he said, and then I was hoping Cheryl was going to pick up on it. He said that they have been studying perms and relaxers for over 100 years, and we say bullshit.
Yeah, that when your ass was putting your hand in the shit, when Black men was relaxing they damn hair for 40 years. Shit, shit. At the end of the day, y'all get on my nerves talking about straight hair this, cultural appropriation, and all of this other bullshit. And when Black men did it, you didn't say shit. Black men did it eons, damn near 50, 75 years before Black women did it. Didn't say nothing. Black men could come on stage, shit, and swing that straight ass shit, and you wouldn't say nothing. And where's they cancer? Where's they research? They didn't do shit on they damn testes and prostate. They won't do the shit on shaving cream and all that other shit Black men use on they damn skin. But my point is, and my anger is because you're about to lose the greatest economic juggernaut asset in the history of Black America if you keep letting them mess with your cultural assets. It's not the only thing, but at the end of the day, we were the first ones to make a safer rendition in technology. Why? Because we made the hydroxide virgin. We ain't messing with that damn formaldehyde. We ain't do it. We ain't in it. We ain't got nothing to do with it. But all of a sudden, everybody Black is saying that now all of a sudden,
it's the candy crack.
And Black people are gonna make sure, and when they have it, and when they screw it up, and your ass can't make a living, and you screwed up in the billion-dollar industry, and you're already satisfied. It's not even number one. It ain't even in the top 5. But at the end of the day, you don't have a right to get a goddamn hair straightener if you want it, because white folks and spooked your ass. I mean,
crazy.
Come on.
Yeah, it's absolutely, and people are buying this like it's on sale at the dollar store.
You're gonna create a whole nother industry of attorneys, and you're gonna make these white boys rich. I mean, come on. You gotta stop. At some point, you're gonna create a whole nother way. Now, black attorneys, white attorneys, and Mexican attorneys, they now gonna say, "Oh shit, I'm going into the relaxer and beauty law now." They're gonna start going into cosmetic law because of your dumb ass. And it just makes me mad because black folks worked hard and built the greatest beauty industry the world has ever seen.
Ever.
And if we need a chance to get and improve and make some more money of creating the whole new, Dr. Morrow already outlined the science for the new, safer versions of it. Let us make the money. Let's not let them come in and say, "Oh, we're going to save you from yourselves. You guys have been doing a bad thing.
Right.
We're going to come in and save you." They're
Right,
going to
because
snatch the shit right from you.
And we know that sodium hydroxide the usage was so multifaceted, and how how they used it in soaps, and like she said, shaving creams, depilatory creams. Sodium hydroxide has been used for so many, and it continues.
You eat it. You eat it. It's in your toothpaste. It's in all your food. It's in your dish soap. It's everywhere. And there does not have a carcinogenic warning. It does not. Stop that, y'all. Stop it. Get educated. Get your mind right. Tell the white folks, call your local. If the shit has been on the local news, you tell them, "Ma'am, it's not been proven. Take the shit off of TV. We don't want to hear it." They don't every damn 5 minutes. White woman want to get a bleach job and a color job and a this job, and not only that, she's pulling silicone in her breast. She's doing all kind of shit, and not one white person ever say, "White woman, you gonna have some cancer. You gonna have some problems," because they don't spook white women. They spook your ass. They don't scare white women. They don't scare white men. They don't even scare black men. The quiet as it's kept. But y'all get the point.
Y'all get the point. No, you guys getting the point. Yeah, Theo is definitely on point. He's coming through. And so we are at an hour and a half, as we promised. This is a topic that we just can't cover, in one podcast. And so what we're going to do is do a part 2. And so next week, we're going to talk about the California Green. We're going to watch this video, and Cheryl is going to begin us off with the economic juggernaut of the relaxer, because I think one of the problems that we have is that we don't know the history. We don't know the history and the purpose of why the relaxer became such a big, important part of our financial freedom. And so the push back coming from those who don't have the education, they're kind of tricking you guys, with this natural hair movement as if it's like the cure-all. When, as you can see, at the end of the day, altering hair is just that. You're just altering it. That's all you're doing. And we have a rich history of doing all types of stuff to our hair with zero life-threatening ramifications. And so we have to begin that conversation with the economic juggernaut of the Black hair care industry. And then we'll move over into the California Green so that we can have a higher level of conversation about altering hair. Then number 2, I really think that the science that they're putting out about relaxers, like I said before, they when you read the original sister studies, they said the reason why they questioned the relaxer was it started off with an environmental concern. They were concerned why more Black women was having the breast cancer, the uterine cancer, things of that nature. And so the environment was where they looked. And then that study jumped to somebody said, well, let's ask the sisters of the women who were diagnosed with cancer, did they use the relaxer? And I know y'all gonna say I'm crazy, but I'm so I know you got something to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If I was in charge of that research and I was concerned about the environment of poor Black people getting cancer, I would not have started with the relaxer. Hell, I wouldn't even started with soap because most poor Black people don't wash their asses. I would have started with the roach spray. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, why don't we do this? Let me just say this to you. Since they went environment, and I want all my Black men, and I want, hopefully, as they play this back, I want all Pan-African, African prone, African based, pro-African, whatever you call yourself, I want you to listen to me. If they went environment, y'all need to go check that bucket, because crabs in a bucket go crazy and they don't live in a bucket. And so, in other words, cortisol, androgens, stress, worry, fear of losing a job because of their hair, living in fear, living in afraid of being shot, being filled with anti-religions, not being able to be themselves, lying, being fearful of going outside, fearing for your children, fearing for your life, worry, fear, stressed out, don't have any money, can't get a job, because that is environmental toxins. And that is what's happening to especially Black women's health, because Black women's health is the least studied, it is the least known about, it is the least researched, and why they would go straight to relaxer instead of all of the other indicators of toxicity, it is beyond me. So I feel that you have a motive, because the other disease that Black people suffer from is economic, the lack of it. So that is, I don't give a shit. Don't even say shit to me about no trusting, no European or Western medicine talking about research or science. So dismiss me with that science word. Because true science, you must love who you study. That is who you're going to get true readings and true purposeful and healthy outcomes with your research.
I'm letting the response be a little bit delayed here because I know there's a delay in what we're saying to you guys. But to Cheryl and I, thank you so much, Sister Nia Colby, and thank you so much, Brother Unc. These
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
These points that we're making, they may, people might say, oh, you guys are bold or whatever. What Cheryl and I are saying is that it's no other way to say it, y'all. It's bullshit. And I have said this. As a matter of fact, when we come back next week, I'm going to start this off playing just a snippet of Ta-Nehisi Coates. And he questioned what he saw. Absolutely. What was happening in Israel and the Gaza before what happened in October. And his question was, how do people sit back and let this shit happen? And I've said it over and over, and I'm going to say it over. And I know I don't really like picking with people because I'm not like a fighter, but I will say it again. How do Black people in any position, I don't care if you're a politician, a doctor, you can be in charge of these algorithms. I don't care. You're a researcher. How in the hell do y'all sit in them seats and allow these people to make this kind of stuff up and kill the best industry. You could go to any school right now and ask any child, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I guarantee you, it is not a social media influencer. It is either a barber or a hairstylist
or a rapper or a fashion designer. It's called the 7 liberal arts. This is the creative age. These people are not going to be your FedEx and your UPS drivers. They ain't trying to hear none of that effort and all that hard back-breaking shit. They know that a job killed their granddaddy, killed their grandmama. They get it. They want to be creative. In my generation, and in my generation, I cannot leave this undone. You will not ruin their inheritance. I don't care, because I believe the next chemical engineers, the next beauty millionaires, and the next whoever they are in the historical Black college. They are in the Black college system. And if I need to go to every HBCU campus and make sure that we share Dr. Morrow's research and so we can improve it. But at the end of the day, the improvements, we're going to sell it back to the market. And if it's worth $500 billion, then so be it. Because we're going to eat first, second, and third. And everybody else can eat the sloppy fourths and fifths, as far as I'm concerned. But we do have the right to improve our industrial complexes, do make changes, because that's why we sending our babies to college, so they can make improvements. That's why basketball teams go to colleges to hire new help. That's why football teams go to colleges and draft these babies so they can get what? Their improvements. They're in addition. They're going to help us win. Why don't we just want to throw away the baby with the bathwater because white folks said, oh, you're going to get sick, you're going to get the boogie woogie flu.
It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. And we see there's in the documentary, I'm going to show a snippet right quick. There's a point where I say that, if you remain silent, you're complicit. And I'm really appalled at all of our, what do you call these people? Celebrity hairstylists. How the hell y'all sit there? I mean, if you got Halle Berry, you doing their hair. I mean, Halle. I mean, if I'm doing anybody's hair that has a voice, you need to say something. And guess what? I ain't doing your motherfucking hair. Period, point blank. Right. Oh, I've let plenty of people go to move the needle for our agenda. Trust me when I tell you. Oh, you can't say what I need you to say as a reporter, as a person of influence. You can't do anything to help us out. Then I'm not doing your hair. And so my reputation is not the best here in Cleveland, and I'm fine with that because I am like Malcolm X, no sellout. I'm not interested. There's no amount of money you can pay me to sell my people out, period. And I don't mean skin folk and the kinfolk. I just mean my humans, not just Blacks. But these things are not for sale. But we have to stick up. And so I know the money will hold you, because you'll be like, well, I don't want to mess up my, what you call those things they give us, Cheryl, consulting fees. You could have that money. I don't care. I got a job. I could do hair. I don't have to do that.
Well, not only don't you have to do it, you have been given the greatest generation, the best start of any generation of Black people. Forget white people. We ain't even talking about they wealth gap when they bullshit. When you are the wealth in the damn gap, you are. So we cannot let it be. You're not going to defame them. I'm not going to let you say untruths. I'm not going to let you criminalize them. We have been the greatest friends of liberty, and we have been top tier on public safety of our Black men and women. If you don't want to get a straightener, you don't have to.
Right. I don't know a company that has ever said you had to get a relaxer. These are called what? Options. They're choices.
And if a black woman and Black man, grandpappy or grandmama put a relaxer in a goddamn 3 to 4, 5-year-olds because they was lazy, ain't got shit to do with the damn company.
Nothing. Nothing more, nothing less. We want you guys to join us again next week. Don't forget to save the date for December the 5th. I'll show you a clip of some behind the scenes. There's some alternatives of what we were going to use to promote the documentary, the narrative. So here we go. Here is a little snippet. Check it out. The narrative documentary watch party happens Tuesday, December the 5th at 7 p.m. right here on the Afro Hair Science YouTube channel.
In barber school was kind of bittersweet. They honestly didn't teach a lot. They teach a fail-safe structure on how to cut the human head, but they don't really specifically go into textured hair, curly hair. They pretty much tell you what to do, and then you just wing it from there, and you learn off trial and error.
Governor DeWine recently signed a law that cuts back on licensing agreements and training for certain occupations. Critics say it could diminish the quality of work.
Please join the chat to help us celebrate our 1-year anniversary. This is a watch party you don't want to miss. So there you have it, another school of thought. Again, we are talking about the documentary, the narrative, Let the Truth Be Told. This documentary is centered around Cheryl Morrow's dad, the one and only, the illustrious Dr. Willie Morrow, and the plight of textured hair and what we're put up against to keep the industry afloat and take it to the next level. And as you can hear and read the comments that's in the chat right now, this is an issue that really, really matters, not just to Cheryl and I, but to several other people. And the documentary is truly one of many efforts to begin to tell the story that no one is talking about. The narratives that we see around the other documentaries around appropriation and association, there's another side. And so as you can see here on this platform, Cheryl and I, we are about telling the truth pure and unadulterated. So we will be back next Monday, and we'll start off with a little snippet from Ta-Nehisi Coates that stars the question, how do y'all just sit here? How do these people, there are celebrity stylists with a voice that's way bigger than mine, and they should be sounding the alarms with the voices that they have. And so then we'll move over into the economic juggernaut, giving you guys just a history about why this is so important and how it helped build our financial freedoms. And then we'll go over into California Green. In the meantime, over on Planet Pluto Pseudo on Thursday, we are going to be talking about, I forgot my talking point. I forgot we're going to be talking about Thursday, but I'll put that up there. So we'll be back on Thursday over on Planet Pluto Pseudo to have another discussion over there. But everybody who was in the chat, let me just tell you guys, you guys are like truly some rocks. I mean, y'all down for the crown. Y'all rock this platform out for an hour and a half. Sandra asked you guys to hit that thumbs up button. Sandra, we appreciate you for coming through to make sure that happens. And we love you guys supporting. We know that.
Luana.
I'm sorry. No, that was Sandra who said hit the thumbs up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I love you both.
Yeah, we do. And we know that this is not a easy conversation to have, especially when it's just so much that says Cheryl and I, we are not relevant. But you guys say we are, and this is why we show up every Monday, every Thursday. Cheryl, any closing out on shea butter? Because we're going to eat some, right, guys? We're going to eat this shea butter and petroleum jelly, and then we have the right, as Cheryl says, we have the right to do better.
Yeah, we need the opportunity to do better. I think it'll be good for our race relations. I think it'll drive us to understand what we send in our wonderful, beautiful, brilliant children to chemical engineering and mathematicians and economic majors and everything. We need them. They are our tomorrow George Johnsons and Willie Morrows and, Olive Bensons and, Eunice Johnson's. They're all there. We're all here. And we just need to make sure that we have a 120-year start with billions and billions of dollars. We have some great Black family dynasties that have made it very easy for me to have a very good life. But at the end of the day, I will not watch it be criminalized and defamed. And the opportunity is ours. And I think it's billions of dollars of opportunities. And I think that we've done enough time. People who are 20 years in, 15 years in, 30 years in this industry, we deserve to see a payday and a wonderful industry that is full of opportunity and flux of different types of branches of elevation paths. And so us doing things and retiring into other parts of our industry and still staying in Black hair care, we've earned it. It's our inheritance.
Yep, that is and you know what? We're getting older. And so it's time for us to pass the baton. And I know you guys can tell that Shirley and I, we know we don't know. We need to wake up the sleeping giants in those HBCUs, in those barber colleges, in those cosmetology schools, in the hair salons. I know when the younger people come in, I'm moving out the way. They will tell you, we're getting old. We have to pay it forward and let these young folks take the reign and do something new and something different. I think Chris Blue said that. Please go follow him over on Facebook. Maybe we'll see if we can get Chris Blue to come in too on our podcast, or we get onto his podcast. And he talked about that the younger people are doing things differently, okay? And so we have to let go and let them do it, but we can't do it out of ignorance. So we will be back next Monday, and we're also going to be ready on Thursday. So you know what we say when we're signing out, right, guys? We're always talking about a whole lot of peace. Ain't that right, Hair Savant? A whole lot of love. Ain't that right? Sister Naya Kobe, everybody in the chat. A couple of shout outs. Thank you so much, Sandra, Lawana, Lamuru, I know I'm saying it wrong. Sister Naya Kobe, Brother Ark, Hair Savant, Judy, Sandra E. Who else we had up here? Theo, what's happening? What's happening in the chat? Also, Lawana, we love you guys so very much. We appreciate your support, Miss Judy, Rashida from Atlanta. We love you guys. And so again, you know what? If you ain't got it, don't want it, can't grow it. You know what we say, Judy, right? Don't worry about it. Just rub your beautiful bald heads, because bald heads and bald patches and all that stuff they say is bad. Even your relaxed hair is beautiful too. Even got some formaldehyde in it. It's okay. All right. And so are you. It's all good, good people. Thank you so much, Lawana. We love you too. Good night, guys.